Hi everyone, it's Gene Calderon here with Gene Calderon Apologetics Ministries, looking to discover truth, looking to discover some new ideas about why we believe what we believe and apply them to our lives, apply them to our faith, and apply them to all that we can when it comes to sharing the testimony about Jesus Christ and Christianity. And so today what I want to focus on, being Friday, is what we like to call Philosophy Friday. This is a time where we stop, take a look, and look at what we can discover rationally, logically, philosophically to be able to support our ideas about why we believe what we believe. Again, philosophy is always one of those subjects where people kind of roll their eyes and like, oh my goodness, it's going to get boring in here because we're going to talk deep thoughts about things that we really never thought deep about because we just want to keep moving forward with our lives. Philosophy is really cool, and it's really amazing how much things will just kind of light bulbs start to go off when you start to understand some of the things that we can discover through philosophy. And we all use philosophy every day. The problem is some of us practice bad philosophy, others practice better philosophy, and some of us actually do practice good philosophy. And so that's what we want to tap into, some of that good philosophy. Now, I want you to notice how God has allowed logic and reason to help us come to some important conclusions. Now, it was among the Jewish people that all of a sudden a man starts to walk around and start talking about ideas and thoughts, all in the sense as if he was claiming that he himself was God. He claims to forgive sins. He claims that he has always existed. And actually, he claims that he would come back and judge the world. Now, the word God in their language meant a being that existed outside of the world who he himself had made and was infinitely different from anything else. And what this man was saying and doing would have shocked the people, not because he was the first one to make these ideas or to make these claims, but the fact that he truly believed them and in many cases was willing to offer the evidence that proved that what he was saying was actually true. And one part of that claim that we sometimes look over or miss is that idea to forgive sins. Now, unless the speaker is God, unless that man was God, it really does not make sense that this man could forgive sins. What is a sin? Well, it's a rebellion against God. It's an act against God. And it's something that only God himself could forgive if we actually commit those, right? And so we all understand how a man forgives actions against ourselves. In fact, if somebody comes and does something against me or offensive to me, then I would expect that person to ask for my forgiveness for offending me or for acting against me, right? And so that makes sense. This is something we understand, right? When somebody offends you or does something against you, you would hope that that person would come and apologize, and then you would be able to forgive that person. And so it doesn't make sense if a man comes in, a third party comes in between you two and says, you know what, I forgive you for what you did to that person, right? Him or her or you, right? It wouldn't make sense. And so when this man, who we know to be Jesus, shows up and claims to be God, you'd have to be careful with that, because what he's saying is, I know you sinned against God, but I forgive you. To them, if he was not God, that would be saying if someone offended you or did something against you, and this other person came and apologized to you, as if I stepped in and said, you know what, you're forgiven. I forgive you for what you did to that person. And you, being that person, be like, wait a minute, who are you to step in and offer forgiveness for what was done to me? Right? That doesn't make sense. And so when Jesus comes in and actually starts making these claims, to them, that would have seemed outrageous. He behaved as if he was the one who had been offended. Now, that only makes sense if Jesus, the Son of Man, the person who was walking around on the earth for about 33 years, it only makes sense if he really was God. And if it was really his laws that were actually being broken. And it was actually his love that was hurt by these sins that were being committed against him. A man who was only a man, who came in and made these kind of claims, it just wouldn't make sense. And secondly, it wouldn't make him a good teacher. Some people say, well, I accept Jesus as a good moral teacher. I just don't think he was God. But if he's making these claims, he's not a good moral teacher if he's not God, right? And so he can't even be seen as being a good moral teacher if he's not God at the same time. And so it doesn't leave many options for us. Either he was God in the flesh, the Son of Man, the one who came from heaven and dwelt among us. Either he was, or he was crazy and just didn't make any sense at all in anything he was teaching. With all the things that he said and all the things that he taught, there's no reason to believe him. Or he was something far worse, right? A liar, a deceiver. He knew exactly what he was doing, but he was teaching lies and he was trying to get people to fall for the falsehoods that he was teaching. It's got to be one of those three. But again, we know he was tried, crucified, buried, and then on the third day rose again, just like he said he would, and was able to use that as a testimony to show everyone he really spoke the truth. Again, we have to make our choice. What is it that we believe about this man who made these kind of claims? What is it that makes the most sense? If he made these claims, we have to understand that only one being can offer forgiveness. And if that being happened to make these claims and then back them up in such a way, and we have to ask ourselves, is he the one? If it's not this issue, there are many other issues. And I think all of us can think, when we look at the evidence, Jesus really was who he said he was. Again, there's plenty of objections up there. We're going through a bunch of these as we teach, but I would want you to consider that Jesus could only speak a certain way only if he really was who he said he was. So I appreciate you watching, and I pray that you're able to consider these ideas yourself. Doesn't make sense for someone else to offer forgiveness for what has been done to you. In the same way, Jesus couldn't offer forgiveness from God if he himself was not God in the flesh. Thank you so much for watching. This is Gene Calderon of Gene Calderon Apologetics Ministries, serving Northwest Indiana. I'm a missionary with Ratio Christi at Purdue University Northwest. If you're interested in supporting a local missionary, the links are below. Or again, I'm serving at my local church on Sunday mornings and other events there in East Chicago. Just looking to serve around Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area. More events coming up. In fact, so just keep in touch with me. Look for some more events, and feel free to join us anytime. We are here to serve. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching.